Now let's be honest, waiting a whole week just to get a new chapter of your favorite manhwa isn't exactly the best. And after reading it, you have to wait another week, or sometimes even months, just to get another chapter. So here's a list of the top 10 completed manhwas.
I'm coming for the throne.
Dice. Imagine you could change your life without any big effort, living in a world where a power that anyone could use that lets you change yourself any way you want. A young boy, Dongtae, has a horrible life. He's not handsome or clever, has no friends, is bullied at school, and his mother is an alcoholic. The only light in his life is his classmate, Yoonju. But one day, a new student arrives and took his light away. Dongtae wonders why his life is so unfair to him, and that's when he found the dice. A dice that has the ability to change your life by playing a game. By using these dice, Dongtae changes his looks and intelligence, and started being noticed by his schoolmates. But then the dice spreads among the other schoolmates and the fight begins. Solo Otter Hunting. The world under attack by monsters that are pouring from the fracture, and the hunters who hunt those monsters are the most coveted job in the world currently. One day, Woo Yoon-sung, who works his hardest from day to day as a worker in a meat restaurant, awakens an ability to automatically hunt monsters with perfect technique and physical prowess like in MMORPG when he presses a button, Auto Hunting, that appears in front of him. The total feel of this manhwa is very similar to Solo Leveling and Second Life Ranker. To be honest, it's nothing special. The same applies for the characters and the art. It's what you would expect from a typical Korean dungeon manhwa. But what makes these type of manhwas interesting is that they sometimes have great art and fight scenes. So it's still an interesting manhwa that's definitely worth reading if you're bored. Gosu. Gangyoung, following the death of his mentor, a once powerful martial artist who was betrayed by his own men and barely escaped with his life, decides to make it his life's purpose to avenge those that had wronged his master. But after his master's death, he found out that the people he was supposed to take revenge on have been dead for many years. Now with no one left to take revenge on, he begins his journey of finding a purpose in life as a dumpling boy, while being armed with his master's supreme martial art techniques. This manhwa is about revenge, martial art, and comedy. The comedy hits its mark sometimes, and the martial art battles are sometimes on fire. And the story itself is different from any other martial art manhwa I've read. So if you're looking to see some insane fights with a bit of comedy, you should definitely check this one out. Solo Leveling. Now for those of you who are addicted to manhwa, or if you've at least heard about manhwas, you would definitely know Solo Leveling. It takes place in a world where gates appear out of nowhere and humans with special abilities called hunters enter these gates and fight monsters. Our main character, Hunter Song Jin-woo, is considered the weakest among E-class hunters, but that all changes when he completes a secret quest and became the world's greatest hunter after he was reawakened and became a player. Now if you haven't read this yet, it's either you're totally new to manhwas or something's definitely wrong with you. The fights are just amazing and both the art and storyline are exceptional. The only downside is that it shouldn't have ended that quickly, but it was still a good read nonetheless. Delivery Nights. While most people avoid the suffocating pollution covering the world, delivery men press on so the citizens can get the packages they desperately need. They are known as the Delivery Nights. The story takes place in a dystopian landscape where society is filled with a crisis like pollution. Even in these situations, some people deliver the packages to the citizens. They're called Delivery Nights. The setup, detailed artwork, and storyline are top-notch in this manhwa. It has one of the best character developments and it only impresses you more the further you go. Dark Mortal. Being called a freak isn't so bad when you have a spunky little black blob as a companion. An explosion leaves Nam Kang orphaned, scarred, and nearly blind, but he toughs out the daily bullying with the help of his imaginary blob friend, Inky. Until one day, Nam wakes from a bad beating to find his scars healed and his vision restored. At a new school, Nam is finally given the chance to live a life as a normal kid. But it isn't just his scars that have disappeared. his best friend Inky's gone too. Now this is one of the hidden gems. The story is really compelling and makes you want to read more with every chapter. The pacing is pretty good and it's rewarding to see the story unraveling after every episode. The characters are well written too. There's the MC who is very kind and has a good personality, and then there are the ones who you want to just punch in the face. Overall, it's definitely worth the read. Promised Orchid. Young Jason always dreams the same dream of a woman telling him she'll be waiting. One day, he meets a mysterious fortune teller who tells him he cannot avoid destiny and leaves him with some advice. For the path he walks, Jason must keep within the eyes that can see the isolated truth. Well, the story revolves around ghosts, specters, and the MCU has the ability to see them, so he was different from normal human beings. The main character shifted from an apartment to a cheap haunted house, which was really an old house with some hidden secrets. Then he met the female main character in an ancient temple who is a specter. Then their adventure started with specters. The art in this manhwa is really good. It's original, it has a good plot, and the storyline, everything is just amazing. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air, this won't disappoint you. Death's Game. He's perennially unemployed, his ex-girlfriend has moved on, and he's just lost all his life savings to a Bitcoin scam. Burdened by societal pressures, Yi-Jae Choi decides to take his own life. Insulted by his flippant attitude towards dying, death comes to punish him with her game. He must experience death over and over again through 13 other lives, but if he can find a way to survive the imminent death coming for these lives, he gets to live out their lifetime. His life was a bust, but what about the lives of others? The premise of the story was both enjoyable, unique in its own way, and well put together. The main character experiences things he never had before while living different lives in different bodies, and also struggles with regrets. For me, it was a great read, maybe because it was different from the type of manhwas that I normally read, but I enjoyed it. The Boxer. You've got the raw talent, or you're the underdog. But do you have the heart? Do you have what it takes? Let's see what you're made of. The real fight starts now. Well, if I had to describe this manhwa in one word, I would say it's amazing. I don't know man, but after reading this I felt like I wanted to put on some gloves and start punching people. It just gave me that kind of vibe, you know? But in all honesty, it's really great, and I was a bit surprised by how detailed the art was. It felt great having such high quality pictures. It really immerses you into the story and it makes the fight scene so much better. The only thing you need now is some popcorn. Catharsis. Fear is a powerful emotion that can end up overtaking one's life. Leon thought he knew that, but when he's thrown into the demonic realm that Catharsis governs over, he learned that there is more to true fear than he could have ever imagined. But will he learn how to face it? Now, as you already know from the synopsis, this story follows a strange kid that can see voices in color. You'll understand what I'm saying if you read it, but yeah. The story is a bit on the darker side, but it's rather unique and not too complex. The art's top notch and the characters for me were pretty cool. And for those of you who are thinking that I put this on the #1 spot just because it has a similar name to my channel, well yes I did. I'm sorry, but I'm just so biased when it comes to these things. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions or just want to say some random stuff, you can do that in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.